basically a bunch of thugs, thieves, and who've been ruining our country. They're so 1970, and we're so 2010.
They've been trying to mobilize demonstrations through Facebook since June of last year. And at first, the protests were small. But on January 25th, they posted this page calling for a protest that mushroomed into a full-scale revolt. How? A week earlier, not so far away in Tunisia, young people had forced out their authoritarian president. They had also taken advantage of an explosion of social media that in just the last 4 years has electrified the Arab and Muslim world. Is this explosion of technology, the access amongst so many people, is this the reason for these revolutions and uprisings that are going on, the turmoil?
It's a planning tool, an organizing tool.
Bobby Ghosh has been reporting on the youth movement for this week's Time magazine and says it's been key to spreading revolutionary fervor.
So Tunisians can talk to Egyptians. Egyptians can talk to Yemenis. And it shows them that they're not alone.
Arab satellite television also played a role. Electrified by what happened in Tunis, young Egyptians used Facebook to call for a protest in Tahrir Square.
I put out an event and say, if 100,000 people confirm in 3 days, then I'm going to take this seriously and, try and make it 1 million.
Wael Ghonim blogged anonymously. So did his friend Ahmed Salah, a young lawyer, and they exchanged key tactical advice online.
On pages, on personal accounts, on groups that have very specific instructions from Tunisians to Egyptians. And so it gives you instructions on how to deal with the tear gas, on how to deal with police generally, what the times of the day is better for you to go to the street, how to deal with rubber bullets.
The Facebook page became their corner cafe, the place to meet, to recruit and share ideas.
One of the ideas that we're still trying to trace where it had originated is the idea to go to popular areas and bring people from the popular areas to specific public squares.
After a week of protests, the Mubarak regime shut down the internet. Wael was arrested, but he had already made a plan to preserve the online movement.
In case he disappears or anything, I should take over the page. If he's arrested, it's very expected that he would be investigated and tortured. So if the page had stopped working at the time, that would be sort of incriminating for him.
Half a world away, Nadine had set up a makeshift war room in a DC townhouse.
When the internet went down is when my world sort of turned topsy-turvy. It became surreal.
They were determined to keep the page up and running.
People would tell me, Nadine, they're not going to come for you here. But I was terrified. When I was at night by myself, I was terrified.
At the same time, in Cairo, Ahmed also continued the work Wael had started.
When I wake up early in the morning, I post 5 or 6 posts or as many as I could in a very short time, a couple of hours. And then I post one sentence that says, I'm going to Tahrir.
But even they were stunned when Wael was released and Hosni Mubarak stepped aside.
I'm proud to be an Egyptian since 25th. I've seen all these, heroes on the street doing all these things that I never thought Egyptians would do. And, in 15 days, Egyptians learned what does it mean to me to involve in politics and call for their rights.
Moment in the movement across the Middle East. Young people who now believe they can break the grip of repressive regimes, armed with something as simple as a cell phone. How wired is the whole region?
It's quite substantially wired. Even people who you would say are quite poor, live in the old city and 20 people to a small home, they have a cell phone that it'll have a camera, if they can afford it. It'll have a sort of email service or an internet connection.
In Bahrain, the protesters in Pearl Square have makeshift charging stations for that vital weapon against oppression.
It plays a big role, in gathering people and giving them instructions. Go here, don't go there. This place is dangerous. Don't try to attack policemen.
In Yemen, Ala Jaban is helping to mobilize young people by posting a few simple photos on Facebook.
Those people who go out to demonstrate, especially young people, are out there just to ask the better for their countries and ask for their rights.
Thousands turned out and forced their president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, to take back his plan to make himself president for life. Watching this wave reach its borders, Saudi Arabia is desperately trying to contain it. It set up a Facebook page where the chief of the royal court encourages you to post your complaint directly. And if you fax it in, they guarantee a response within 24 hours. In Iran, despite the government's attempts to block it, 90% of the hits on this Facebook page still come from Iran. The people who are doing this, are these people who are friendly to the United States?
They're suspicious of the United States, most of them their entire lives. But they're not viscerally anti-American. We're not seeing American flags being burnt. We're not seeing the American president or Hillary Clinton being hung in effigy. And so if the U.S. is able to conduct some smart diplomacy, I think it's possible to get over that hump of suspicion that they have.
The Egyptian revolution wasn't driven just by the internet and its super users like Wael, Nadine, and Ahmed, but by forces that have sparked revolutions throughout history, the fight for basic freedoms that connect us all.
The experience and the inspiration has no borders.
It was much bigger than any of us, and it showed a different model other than violence. You saw a people come together in a way that was just wonderful.
It became true, and you know, whatever we've been fighting for since the 25th of January is now being realized.
And I'll continue to follow the unfolding events in the Middle East in real time on Twitter and on my blog, my Facebook page, or at ABC.